Hello there.
This is where the fun begins.
What's up, guys? Unofficial Star Wars here. Hope you're all doing well, and in this video we have a brand new tease for THRAWN in the Ahsoka Disney Plus series. We're gonna hop right on into it. In this video, we are going to be taking a read from CBR.com. I'll have their article linked in the description down below for you guys to check out there as well, with Ahsoka right around the corner coming out on Disney Plus with its 2-episode premiere on August 23rd. I can't not soak in just enough of it. I want to know every little detail about the upcoming series. That's exactly what we're doing here on the channel. Covering it and talking about it, and we do so much more here on the channel with all types of Star Wars related news, leaks, rumors, theories, and breakdowns. You're not going to want to miss our Ahsoka video breakdowns here on the channel. All the more reason to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Recently, Ahsoka's Lars Mikkelsen himself had recently teased THRAWN's brutality in the live action aspect of things and in his debut for the Ahsoka series. Lars Mikkelsen, of course, having been the voice of THRAWN in the animated Star Wars Rebels show. And for those of you that may be wondering, do I have to have seen Clone Wars or Rebels or any of the other animated shows to understand exactly what's going on in Ahsoka? The simple, flat answer to that is no, but watching and knowing some of that animated content makes it a lot more enjoyable. I would highly recommend you at very least check out Star Wars Rebels. I have a whole nother video discussing about that in preparation for what you may want to know for the Ahsoka series, so check that video out. Anyway, having recently Lars Mikkelsen opening up about translating THRAWN into live action from the animation and from the novels even, saying that the show brings out the character's brutality in a smart, well-planned way. Ahsoka star Lars Mikkelsen had teased the well-planned brutality of Grand Admiral THRAWN on the upcoming Disney Plus series. With a new recent interview with Entertainment Weekly, Lars Mikkelsen had discussed his interpretation of Grand Admiral THRAWN. Just overall, the show's a main antagonist for the Ahsoka series and has the huge potential, probably going forward, being the main villain of the Mandoverse. Really saying that Mikkelsen sees the character not as a mindless killer, but as a convening mastermind that is always several steps ahead of his opponents, saying that, in quote, "He's brutal to a certain point, but he's not stupid," Mikkelsen said. "He utilizes the creativity around him, and I like that. He doesn't just kill people off for the fun of it. He's sort of 7 pages ahead of everybody else." Ending that quote right there, really just saying of that smartness that we see with THRAWN, not only in the novels, but also in the Rebels animated show. That's something that does carry over into this timeline, in this era of the Star Wars universe within the Mandoverse, and also seeing him in this medium of live action now. That smartness, that tactics that THRAWN's really well known for, I think, at that point, is brought over, and that's a huge thing that we will be seeing with THRAWN in the Ahsoka series. He's not something that's starting from scratch, because he has been away. For a little bit of a spoiler alert for Star Wars Rebels regarding the finale, I think that everybody knows at this point that THRAWN has been away for nearly close to a decade throughout the events of the original trilogy after Star Wars Rebels. So when we finally do see him re-emerging from the shadows in the Ahsoka series, he's not flying in blind. He's several steps ahead of everybody else and already knows what's about to go down. Also sparking up some of that saying that THRAWN is going to be more brutal to a certain point, but he's not necessarily stupid, Mikkelsen teases, and saying that is something that we have kind of seen with the Mandoverse here, just overall in live action, with all seasons of The Mandalorian, with the Book of Boba Fett a little bit here and there. I feel like that this era, this universe that Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau have both created here with the Mandoverse, I feel like that this content has been a little bit more brutal to a point compared to some of the other Disney era projects like the sequel trilogy. And of course, don't get me wrong, it's nothing like major or anything crazy compared to George Lucas's prequels or even original trilogy or Clone Wars, the animated show. I'm really just saying that I think that if for anything, the Mandoverse is something that is the closest in the form of brutality, something that the prequel trilogy and that the original trilogy had gotten to with George Lucas over the helm of things. So seeing some of that brutality or some of those darker themes and tones here for the Ahsoka series carrying over, and maybe even a little bit more pivotal at that, being something a little bit more for the Ahsoka series, is something I think that we're all kind of looking forward to. Especially with THRAWN, if you know anything about him and his character from the novels or from Star Wars Rebels, he is a more darker toned kind of character. Comparing it to the MCU, it's kind of like the Punisher or Daredevil in a way almost. This doesn't necessarily necessarily mean or confirm like blood and gore and all that type of things for the Ahsoka series, but I'm just throwing it out there that hopefully the Ahsoka series will garner towards a more mature audience and bring out some of those darker tones and themes and qualities that we've previously seen before in the Mandoverse. Now, Mickelson, who provided his voice for the character, as I had mentioned in the animated series Star Wars Rebels, also said that bringing THRAWN into live action was a source of concern, since he was worried that the character's menacing personality would not translate as well behind the camera, unlike his time voicing the character in the Rebels animated show. Getting into character for THRAWN in Ahsoka required a lot more preparation and requires a lot more work, I think, at that into it. However, after not only just hours of makeup and prosthetics to make the character really come to life into live action from Lars Mikkelsen, there's also just this technique of acting that Lars Mikkelsen needs to shift gears and say, hey, this isn't just voice acting, I'm actually acting now for THRAWN. The actor had also said that he felt like he could embody the blue-skinned alien commander better than he actually anticipated and expected, saying that maybe he felt a little more worried about bringing this character into live action, and with really just having set the bar so high with Rebels. Although, to be fair, I quite personally believe that just having Lars Mikkelsen play the character THRAWN in live action, that's enough for me, and I think that's enough for a lot of us other Star Wars fans. Ahsoka overall is going to tell the story of the titular Jedi previously exiled after the events of Revenge of the Sith, the movie, coming to the light once again to rebuild her connection to the Force and reach out to her old comrades. Several characters from the Star Wars Rebels animated show are set to return as well, such as Sabine Wren, now played by Natasha Liu Bordizzo in live action. The show will mark the first time THRAWN has been depicted in live action after his appearance in Rebels, through the character's origins to go back even further, as I had mentioned, into the novels. The character has been a fixture of Star Wars media since the 1992 Legends novel Heir to the Empire by Timothy Zahn, the creator of the character, in which he is an Imperial warlord in charge of rebuilding the Empire after its defeat following the events of Return of the Jedi, something that we're seeing very similar with the Mandoverse. The remnants of the Empire and Imperial remnants coming back after the events of the original trilogy, after the events of Return of the Jedi, is exactly what the Mandoverse is, and that's exactly what we're kind of seeing from Legends being brought into canon. Is the novel Heir to the Empire is what many believe. While the novel is of course no longer canon, as I had mentioned, to the main Star Wars continuity, and in its canon many of its core elements were already adapted from the Clone Wars creator Dave Filoni into the Mandoverse. Aspects from the books such as the Imperial Remnant, Grand Admiral THRAWN, and now Dark Jedi have come to Filoni's projects like The Mandalorian and now Ahsoka. The Dark Jedi would have to be what would be Balin and Shin Hati, the characters with the orange lightsabers that we see throughout the Ahsoka trailer, noting that they're not red, they're more orange. This here all being said, let me know all of your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below. I would love to hear what you guys are all thinking and what you want to see in the Ahsoka series most in the comment section down below. Guys, thanks so much for watching today's video. Of course, this has been Unofficial Star Wars. Have a great one. May the Force be with you as always. Peace out.